Crystal here from Crystal's Quail and Cocktails. It's been a really long time since I posted. I was going through a divorce, so just had other things going on. Last I posted, my quail cages were in an aviary last year. I think it was May 2024. I set up my sunroom to hold the quail. I bought 3 new cages from Wynola. I had the guy make them a little taller so there's extra room between the litter tray and the bottom of the cage. There's the waters on top. They hold 5 gallons. But we didn't use this sunroom. It was incredibly hot. Like, why are there skylights in the sunroom? And the sun rises on this side and the sun sets on this side, so it's just blasted with sun all day. So it was too hot. We actually used it as storage because we flooded in our basement twice when historic Ellicott City flooded. So we were afraid to keep things in the basement, so we used this room for storage for a while. So then I was like, well, why not try this? And this has, now that I'm a single mom, this has made things so much easier. I can just pop out in the sunroom in my nightgown any time of the day and take care of the birds. So I used to have them in an aviary, which is in my old videos, but the neighbor who lived next door, he was in his 90s, couldn't see well, couldn't hear well. I could be up there anytime, he didn't care. Fast forward, we got new neighbors. They probably also wouldn't care. However, their bedrooms are on the side of where my aviary is, so I didn't want to be up there making noise and things like that. So this has just made things so much easier. So to help block the sun, I bought this foam and shoved it up into the skylights. Then I got these curtains. So I've had this set up for over a year, so you can see dust accumulates. Birds are incredibly dusty. But these are like shiny white on the back, so the sun doesn't come through, but is definitely like, you know, if you touch the glass, it's hot. I have these shelving units where I put my brooders, but I brood starting in the winter, February, so I can have 6 brooders going at once. Right now, this is the infirmary. I have a mountain quail up top. She's been recovering from scaly leg mites. It's actually taking her longer to recover than it does the chickens. And then I have a male up there who has a injured foot. The girls in the other bin were rejecting him, so he seems to get along okay with the mountain quail. And then down here I have 3 girls who have some injuries. So it seems by the end of the season, so I start hatching in February. I start selling eggs around and about April 1st, and I go through Halloween, maybe a little longer. So I sell chicks while I'm growing out my own chicks. So I make some money off the birds that way. And then I have 3 quail egg customers. Like, basically I'm a wholesaler. So I sell to 2 farms and a produce stand. So once all of those customers are open, I stop selling chicks and I just sell eggs. And why do I do this? I do this because selling the quail eggs for about 6 months out of the year and chicks pays for the rest of my birds. So I have my feed barrels in here. Most of them are empty right now because I'm waiting for a delivery. But here's the feed, if you can see it. It's organic from a local mill. When I say local, I mean 3 hours away. But because I buy over 1,000 pounds at a time, she delivers to me. Here, I've set this up kind of to be a clean space. So I wipe this down, bring my egg cartons out, and I pack my eggs as I gather them off, so that saves me time. Also, since this is connected to the house, I completely plasticked over this wall. Now, this was an external wall. This was the outside of the house when they the previous owners built the sunroom. So I wasn't really too concerned. But my neighbor who works in asbestos abatement said that I should cover the whole wall, not just the windows, which is what I was going to do. Now, do I have mice? I have one spot where mice come in. And I can't, so far, haven't been able to remedy it. But back here behind this curtain, there's like a little tiny hole, and they've been able to come in through there. So, you know, it is what it is. I have electric that was already out here, fans for when it's warm, because it does get warm in here. The tall fan I'll set on the ground to hit the lower cages. I think over the summer the warmest it's gotten in here was 97, even though where I live the real feel can be a lot warmer because it's humid. And the birds, of course, are panting, but they're fine. I have not lost any birds due to heat. Over here, I have medical supplies, scissors I use to cull, a dissection kit, which I find super helpful. This is to put bits in their noses, which I do either with Mean Girls or when I'm growing boys out for food. Syringes in case I need to give antibiotics, and then some medication items, sanitizing wipes, zip ties, which I use if I need to know who's who. I have, don't know if I can cover up my email address, but I was out of town for a couple days, so I had a checklist for the people watching my birds. Oh, and since these cages are pretty tall, I mean, I'm not short, I'm 5'7", but I still need a stepladder. So this is what I've changed to for my birds. And my math, I don't know what I was thinking. I thought I was doubling what I had in the aviary, which I had 9 cages. So, but obviously now I have, how many cages? I have 9. So now I have 18 cages, but I ended up selling the other 2 cages that I had, because I had 2 standing cages. One had 4, one had 5, but now I have 18. So I ended up selling the older cages because I really didn't need one of these, but they're all the same height. They, you know, this works for the setup. All right, now let me show you what other birds I have. So you should know that I live in the suburbs. I do not live on a farm. So people who have backyard birds or backyard farmers, homesteading, however you want to call it. Here's my wheelbarrow. So when I need to clean the cages, I just open this window and I dump the poo right into my giant wheelbarrow. Water. So that way I just pull the hose into the window and fill. So I've really like streamlined what I do. Here's my patio, my back patio. I'm not good at weeding. I'm not really a plant person. I'm more of an animal person. This is my feral cat. You see her down there? Yep. She finally, after almost 2 years, lets me pet her. So this is basically like her living room. Nobody really sits out here. The kids are older now, so us parents don't have to sit out here and watch them every moment. Okay, so let me show you what else I have. So I told you I keep the quail because they pay for the rest of my birds. All right, so I built this out of some free pallets, a tarp, and an extra quail cage. So these are my bachelors. These are 100% Celadon males, so I just took a couple photos. I need to post them for sale or process them. But I'm coming to the end of the season, which is when I'll process whoever I don't want to winter. So if the birds are not working for me, I don't want to pay to feed them to get no money back. Also, breeding, laying eggs It's a hard life in a cage. They also taste delicious, so they become food. Oh, and you can see they have bits in their noses, and this is so they can't severely injure each other. Because boys fight for the right to reproduce, and if you don't have any girls in there, they get busy with each other. Okay, beautiful fig tree. Another fig tree over there. All right, so here are my Thanksgiving turkeys. I have 5. 2 go to friends, and then 1 goes to my mom, my dad, and my brother. I don't cook the turkey, I just raise it, and then I eat with at least one of them. Last year, we had 2 38-pound toms, a 36-pound tom, and then I think around like 20 pounds and 23-pound girls. So we'll see what they end up being this year. Once they get, so this space is extra space for my chickens. No one's in that green coop. The chickens are in the wood coop down there by the shed. But once they get taller than the chickens, I let them in here because I can put their feet up higher, so that way the chickens can't eat their feed, even though they have their own. So this purple coop is kind of a multi-purpose coop. I've put meat birds in there. I've grown chickens out in there because I don't mix non-laying hens with laying hens. One, because it kind of seems like if you're not in the group, the older girls are mean. So I'll raise them, new girls in here before, and right before they're about to lay, then I mix them in with the flock. And I always do groups of 4 to 5. That way it's not like 1 or 2 getting picked on by the big girls. The turkeys, so I've been doing turkeys, I can't even tell you, like 7 years maybe. Sometimes they go in the coop, but this group doesn't seem to want to. There is a roost in there. You can't see it because the green tarp is blocking it. So they'll roost on that or sleep under the purple coop or in the coop. It's up to the turkey. But this is where I put them at sunset. That way they're safe from predators. So this is the omelet coop, which has a skirt around it so digging predators can't get in. And then I also have an electric fence there. And that is because the meat chickens are too heavy to go in the coop. And I did have, when I first started, like a predator try to pull the bird through and kill it. You know, so. All right, this is Kitty. She usually lives with the mountain quail that was in the bin in the sunroom. She is the one who came into the group with scaly leg mites, so she shared. She's recovered, but I'm waiting for the mountain quail, who I have named Orange because she has an orange zip tie on her leg, so I knew who's who, lived together in the aviary. But this is another kind of multi-purpose small chicken tractor. I've had quail in here when I first started. I put broody chickens in here to break the cycle. If they go broody and you remove them from where they can, you know, sit in the nesting box, it takes 3 days. You break the cycle. So you definitely need to have a place to quarantine a bird, whether it's due to illness, parasite, you're giving them medication, and you know there's a withdrawal time, so you can't eat their eggs or whatever. So this is a omelet. I really like the company. This is called the Omelet Go. I do not like it for birds laying eggs inside because the area for them to lay, it kind of stinks in my opinion. But for quarantining and if your birds aren't laying, this is great. So here's the turkeys. Again, they're funny. They follow me. If there was a dog of the bird world, it would be the turkeys. All right, so here I have an automatic door. My chickens usually are in this area where the turkeys are, but unfortunately they bully the turkeys, and so then the turkeys aren't eating, and I need my Thanksgiving turkeys to eat so they can be nice and big and fat for Thanksgiving. So I shooed them in here and closed the door. Whoops, sorry kitty. She likes to get under my feet sometime. You okay? Yeah, she's a good girl. She's bossy though. All right, I have a big 15-gallon water. Last 2 weeks. Here is Mallory. She's the barred rock. That's Alexis. Hi, Alexis. The black one is Brianna. The red ones, I don't remember what type of chicken they are. I got them from my farmer friend, but they're ones that lay a lot of eggs. I named them after my mom's sisters, and my grandmother and her sister. So since they lay so many eggs, they don't live very long. So it's really funny when I'm like, yeah, I had to put Barbara down today. Hey, Grace. That's Moira. Moira's molting, but she's going to be beautiful when she's done. Chickens don't lay when they molt, and some chickens go off lay for the winter, or they may just not lay as often. But these reddish colored ones, they lay a lot. So I keep them, so basically keep my eggs, enough eggs in the winter. Oh, so their feeders are treacle feeders. They have to step on the pedal to open it to eat, and that is so rodents can't get into your feeder. So when I started, I only had this one down here underneath of the coop. But after a visit from a poultry vet who schooled me and told me all the things I was doing wrong, I realized that, well, she told me 75% of your birds need to be able to eat at the same time. I don't think I'm quite at that 75%, but this is plenty of space. And okay, so so I have this wood coop. Had I known better, I wouldn't have gotten a wood coop, right? If they need repairs, things like that. But I have 3 automatic doors, one on the coop, one here on this secure run, and then one that goes into the area where the turkeys are. So the first door that closes for the night is the coop door. The next one that closes is this door, and that is so during the summer, I have some birds who prefer to roost here, so that is to protect them, right? That's what that's for. And then the other door that opens into the bigger area doesn't open until 10 a.m. And that's because any of my predator problems were before people were out and about getting ready to go to work. So I hope the hawks have had their fill by then, because you can't see it. Well, you can see the leaves that are there, but this area is netted, and that is so flying predators can't get to my birds. Oh, and then I have an electric fence. I'm going to need to do a little fixing it up after the turkey. It's off right now, but you have your charger. You run your line. Yes, I have weeds on it right now. I know I need to remove the weeds, but it goes around inside, through the corner in the back there, kind of, there's like a yellow plastic thing, and that is to allow the cord to pass through the metal fence. And then it goes around the back, and it comes around here, which this is covered in weeds. So when you have weeds growing on your electric fence, it reduces the amount of output of the electric charge. So you do need to keep your electric fence clear. I turn off my electric fence when I start putting the turkeys in here. And the reason is they're kind of dumb, and they will just shock themselves over and over. I also turn it off because I want them to clear the weeds for me. So that is their job. Okay. So showed you the water, showed you treacle feeders, talked about the electric fence, talked about the automatic doors. Oh, I also have a rollout nesting box. So I was in the process of cleaning, and I don't know why I started videoing. I started with the rollout nesting box. My chickens do not eat their own eggs. If I throw them an egg and it doesn't break, they won't touch it. They think I have to break the egg for them. And do I throw them? I throw them an egg if one's like cracked or soiled. Okay. So the only other thing that I have is an aviary. It's behind the shed, but my neighbors are out, so I'm not going to go up there. And what do I keep in the aviary? The Silky, her name's Kitty, and the mountain quail, whose name is Orange. And then I started putting my meat birds in there this year. And the reason that I did that is because it was so hot last year that I lost, I think, 9 meat chickens because of the heat. And so I put them up in the aviary, which you can see the white tarp behind the shed there. It's shaded, and then I have fans up there because they're protected from the weather. So that worked out. And then as you see, so chickens don't care how pretty their coop is, they just need to be properly protected, right? So we put this additional beam on this retaining wall, but some carpenter ants really got at it. So I sprayed it with insecticide, and that, I don't remember what that is. It might be some like roofing material or something. And I also painted some roofing, like rubberized roofing stuff. So one day when my wood coop finally fails, so far the coop hasn't rotted at all. This wood beam is a problem, but I have the green omelet coop and the purple omelet coop. So if this thing, completely degrades, I still have a safe space for my birds. I also have the aviary if needed. I've had to replace the roofing because the roofing rotted. They did not, the maker of this coop did not wrap the roofing material underneath here, so it dripped and then just rotted. My ex didn't store this board properly, so it's a little bent, but I feel like it probably adds to ventilation for the birds. And then I wasn't sure what to do on the top, so I bought these things also in the roofing section and just stapled them on. So like I said, birds don't care. It doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to work. And then another problem with this coop is that the water would get in between in this little gap from where the nesting box would lift up. So that is why black plastic is stapled on there. And when the plastic gets beaten up by the sun, I just replace it. Other than those 2 issues, which were design flaws on the part of the builder, I didn't have any other issues with this coop. I need to clean the coop. It's dirty, so I'm not gonna, well, I guess you don't care, right? You want to learn all of the things about birds. You want to see the dirty work, right? Okay, so this is the coop. I'm gonna clean it, but this area, they had 6 nesting boxes, 3 here, 3 here. You don't need that many, right? So I removed the dividers, bought some new boards, and just gave them an addition. So I put up to 15 birds in here at a time. I don't go over 15. Why is that shoe thing back there? That is because Mallory likes to lay there. So that is to help deter her. But you see there's lots of feathers. That's because I have 2 birds molting, Stevie and Moira. This is the rollout nesting box, which we took the nesting box off of the coop, installed this on, and then reinstalled the outside. Now, I need to stain it, you can see, but it's not rotting. It's okay. I'm not really concerned. Yeah, hey there. So I don't know these chickens' names because they all look very much alike. The only one I do know is Elva because she's named after my grandmom and she's the darkest. But other than that, I don't know. But they're nosy. I joke with them when I clean. I'm like, did you come to see how I was doing? Like, make sure I was doing a good job. Oh, there's Moira. So she's the top bird. But like I said, she's molting right now. And she actually had a couple ingrown feathers under her vent area that I had to take care of. So when she molted last year, I had a different group of these birds who I've had to call this year because they reached their life expectancy. And so for when you buy birds that lay a lot of eggs, what'll happen is the egg shell, like the egg will get bigger, but the shell will be thinner. And eventually they'll start breaking in the bird. Eventually the bird will get an infection. So I add a new group of these. Usually it's golden comets, but I don't think these are golden comets. Like I said, I got these ones off of a farmer friend. But so I move the group into retirement when I move these girls in, and that way they can reestablish the pecking order. And retirement is also the purple coop because it's a multi-purpose coop, right? And then I call them as necessary. And when I get down to the last two and I have to call one, I just call on both because birds are social animals. I don't want to have one chicken by herself. Which Kitty's by herself, but she doesn't seem to care. So everybody came. So here's Alexis. There's Joan Margaret in the back. She's a white chicken. She's a leghorn. Okay. Hi there. Yes. All right, you girls are nosy. Okay, can I close you back up? Oh, there's Elva down there. And I've not figured out what's going on with Elva's feathers on her wings. They've been like that for a long time. I have a feeling maybe she flaps her wings and it like damages the feathers there. She's the only one who has it. She's had it for ever, so it's not a mite issue. I've treated the birds for mites. How do I treat them for mites? Elector ESP. Yes, it's super expensive, but it does the job and it lasts a long time. So I put it in a spray bottle. I spray the birds. I clean the coop. I spray the coop. You can also dip them in it if you need it. Hey, Mallory. All right. Close this up. I don't want birds jumping out. Oh, you definitely wear a mask when you clean your coop, especially this one because I basically have to like put my head into it because you don't want to get like histoplasmosis. Wherever bird droppings accumulate, if you stir up the dust, you can get histoplasmosis. Hey, kitty. Oh, and then I do give them grit and oyster shell, which I probably need to refill. I refill it when I clean. So it goes in that cup. I used to have like a gravity thing for it to come down with. But, oh, I think the boy turkeys are fighting. Here, let's watch that. That's fun. Oh, the gravity feeder. Oh, and for the turkeys, you just have to let them fight it out. Oh, yeah. If you see that there's a black spot, so this is them trying to determine who's in charge. So one year I had Narragansett turkeys and I had two boys and they would fight. And I used to break it up, but I couldn't stop it, so I just let them fight it out. I was pretty sure someone was going to lose a snood, but eventually someone submits and then they move on. Turkeys are funny. Oh, and then with the Narragansetts, when they decided to go after my son, they were not allowed to be in the yard anymore. Is it over? Did you guys work it out? All right. Well, thanks for listening to me talk about my birds. I can't at this point imagine my life without chickens. They're just so easy. I clean the coop once a week unless someone's roosting outside, and then it's every other week because there's not much poop in there. I fill the feeders once a week. I fill the water. The water lasts for 2 weeks. Chickens are just so easy. You do run into issues. You run into illness, things like that. But there's just so much information that you can get. Find your local animal health lab. If you Like if there's not one close, contact your Department of Agriculture. If you lose a bird and you don't know why, or you lost a bird and shortly after you lose another bird, double bag that bird, refrigerate it, take it to your local animal health lab for a necropsy. They will tell you why it died. A year into chicken keeping, I got Merrick's in my flock. Now I buy vaccinated birds. You get illnesses like Merrick's, or I've never had fowl pox, things like that. You have to let it run its course through your birds. Don't add new birds. And then after a couple months of no more illness, you've lost what you're going to lose, then add vaccinated birds. I mean, the vaccines don't prevent them from getting it, but it lessens the symptoms. So, and you can pick that stuff up by going to your local farm store. So wear dedicated clothes, shoes, coats around your birds. Don't wear that stuff anywhere else. You go to the fair, you visit the birds, change your clothes before you go tuck your birds in for the night. And if you have illness in your flock, don't go visit other birds, right? They say you shouldn't keep chickens and turkeys together because turkeys can get blackhead from chickens. That's a chicken eats an earthworm and poops, and then the turkey ingests it. I don't keep turkeys year round. I only keep them for 16 weeks is the grow out period. So far I've not had blackhead, not been an issue. If it becomes an issue, then maybe I won't be able to keep turkeys anymore. Mites. Spray the birds with the Elector PSP. There's no egg withdrawal. Anything you give your birds or put on your birds, you need to see if there is an egg withdrawal. Does the medication pass into the egg, and should you or should you not be consuming it? And especially if you're selling eggs, if you're choosing for yourself, that's one thing, but if you're choosing for your children, or you're choosing, like you sell them and you're, selling eggs while the birds are on medication, not a good thing. So just be smart. We have Google now, find so much information. Local Department of Agriculture. Yes, your chickens are supposed to be registered with the Department of Agriculture. Yes, you have to check your state and county regulations and your HOA, things like that. Do I have more than I'm supposed to? Yes, I do. Has anyone complained? No. If someone complains, it would have to be on someone's priority list to come out, and then I would have to put some birds down. But so far, my neighbors love it. I have multiple neighbors who come up here with their children, take walks, come look at the birds. You have to keep your coop a certain distance from your property line and a dwelling. So you have to do your research. They've made it harder to get medication. So, like you need a vet script. I'm not positive, but I think it's because during COVID, people were taking animal medications. So I think that's why they changed it. But I used to be able to go into my farm store and buy antibiotics. Why did I buy antibiotics? Because I had a quail who had sustained a leg injury, and it was an open wound, so I was trying to prevent infection. It did get infected. I did have to give multiple rounds of antibiotics. I did have to lance the wound and drain the fluid. It was from a leg band. I bought these leg bands. They were like a plastic spiral. They were soft when I got them, but after being on the birds for a bit, they became hard as a rock, and the birds' legs swelled around the leg bands. I don't use anything like that anymore. Learned my lesson. Had a lot of birds to take care of. But the worst one, she ended up with a deformed leg, but she did survive the infection because I treated her, and she became an inside quail. And then when I had a boy with wry neck who, let's say, couldn't stick the landing, I put him in with her because I knew he couldn't overbreed because he couldn't perform. And then they became friends, and when, I don't remember who passed first, him or her, but I think it was her. So then I put him down because I really didn't want indoor birds, and he was really just there to keep her company. And yes, learning how to put your birds down is a necessary tool. because you probably won't be able to just take your bird to a vet. If you do, they have to know what they're doing. So many people take their birds to like exotic vets, but they don't know how to handle poultry, and they want to do like expensive diagnostic testing. And like, I have a friend whose bird had an impacted crop. She knew it was impacted. She took it to the vet, but they wanted to do all this imaging first. The bird died. They could have just treated the impacted crop. The bird would have been fine. It didn't need all that testing. But so you have to gain some knowledge and some skills. The knife I prefer for calling is called Havalon. I don't remember how to say the name of it. It looks like piranha, but I know that's not the right word. But it has a replaceable scalpel blade. So we also use it when we call meat chickens. And it lasts for about 35 to 40 birds before we need to change it, as long as you part the feathers on the neck, because cutting through feathers dulls the knife. But it's a sharp scalpel blade. You put the bird in a cone where you hold it on your lap. It's harder if you do it on your lap. And you cut the artery on both sides, avoiding the windpipe. Water should be like draining out, not a trickle. And the birds go unconscious very quickly. If you tap their eye and their pupil doesn't dilate or contract, then the bird's unconscious. And yes, the bird moves around in the cone, but at that point, it's not feeling anything. The poultry vet said that cervical dislocation was the most humane way to euthanize a bird. I tried it once on a quail, and I was not successful. But I had scissors right there, and so I personally don't feel comfortable with it. But that is another humane way. And if you can't do it and you're just going to let your bird suffer, I mean, us as humans, we're made comfortable, right? These birds aren't made comfortable. So, mercy. Yeah, so my son is 9. He just recently started showing more interest in participating or being around the stuff that mommy does. He's seen it before, but he's kind of like come in and out. Now, last year when we did the turkeys, his BFF was here, and she asked if she could cut some quail heads off. So we held the birds, and then they could use the scissors, because for quail they're small, so I use really sharp scissors. I prefer serrated sewing scissors that are made to cut multiple layers of fabric. They are the sharpest scissors that I've found, and they cut like butter. So we let the kids do that. My son's 9, and they enjoy seeing the organs, and they like to see the process. Kids are curious, they are like sponges, and if they don't want to be around it, we don't make them be around it, right? But if they want to, then I think this turkey is going to come peck a feather out of that turkey's butt. They're so silly. He's strutting. Hey, handsome. All right, well, I've talked about, I've got a stink bug on me. I've talked about birds for almost 40 minutes now. See the coming time for the season to end. I used to let the birds in the yard, but I stopped. I did have, on 2 occasions, a neighbor's dog got out and attacked one of my birds. Thankfully, a neighbor was here, because my son was really little at that point and was in like a kiddie pool. Yeah, I'm not leaving my toddler in the kiddie pool to go save a chicken. But a neighbor was here, so one of us was able to keep an eye on the children, and one of us was able to go rescue the chicken. And she lost a lot of feathers and had a broken toe, and that was it. So she recovered. Then I had another neighbor's dog that got out. He looked so happy. I saw him run down the street and then up into the cul-de-sac, and he just looked like, I'm free, I'm free, I'm free. He's running, but I know like my yard is not completely fenced in. So I'm like, he's going to be down here. My chickens are out. Well, he went to grab one of my chickens. Her name was Alice. But he was so tired, he just slobbered all over her, and he like slipped in the wet grass and like kind of fell down and just laid there panting. So luckily no chickens were lost in the process, but so I don't let my chickens in the yard anymore. And the other reason is that they will poop on my patio. They'll go, if you mulch like your garden beds, they'll kick the mulch out. It's just more of a pain. These chickens have never been in the yard. This is the only group I've never let out in my yard, except for Kitty. She's special. So if I leave the gate open, they won't even come down in the yard. They'll just come like to this edge here. So, all right. Well, happy Saturday to you. Oh, another note about keeping the birds. So your chickens, just like your children, they don't care if you're sick, if it's raining, if it's snowing, if it's windy, if you're not feeling good, if you're, tired, they don't care. You still need to take care of them. So being forced to go outside every day to tend to the birds, I really believe makes me a happier person. Yes, I'm out here in a robe. I'm out here in pajamas. I do have dedicated chicken clothing, but if I'm not cleaning, I may just run out here, in my pajamas, which I don't wear out anywhere. And, so you have to be in the sunshine. You have to be in the snow. You have to be in the rain. You have to be in the ice. They have needs, and you have to meet their needs because that's your responsibility as a chicken owner. I have a list of emergency chicken contacts, people that I process chickens with. So last year I flipped on the riding mower. Thank God I didn't break my leg, but I got a concussion. And so my neighbors helped me out with my birds, but I also have like emergency contacts, someone who can put a bird down if I'm not, like if I'm out of town or something like that. If something happened to me, I have people who can come and either take my birds, put my birds down. They could sell them if they wanted to. So you need to have kind of like a backup, right? If you're at least in my situation where I'm a single mom and my ex did not want anything to do with the birds, he would have not known what to do. So he liked eating the chicken and the turkey, but other than that, he didn't want anything to do with it. And you want to know what's really funny? So when we met, I came with 2 cats. Well, one of my cats passed away, and he had told me, I think at the beginning, he's like, I don't want any more cats, any more indoor animals once they pass. So when we moved here, I wanted goats, but we can't have goats here, but we could have chickens. So I got 9 chickens, and I was like, okay, if this doesn't work out, we'll just have a big family dinner and it'll be over. Well, now I have, like I said, up to 15 laying chickens, 5 turkeys sometimes a couple times a year, 15 meat chickens, and hundreds of quail. I'm like, dude, you should have just let me get another cat. But, and then I used to complain about how much the birds cost, which they really don't cost much. Like the initial cost is the setup, right? Buying the coop and the supplies. When I built, so this is garden fencing now, but I had used like free pallets when I first started because, it's a big expense when you first buy the items that you need, the coop, the feeder, the water, the nesting box. And I wanted to do it right. I wanted the rollout nesting box. I wanted the treacle feeders. I didn't want to have to go out there every day and do their food and water. I wanted to be able to go on vacation and just need someone to come collect the eggs. So yeah, it was a big expense at first, but he continued to complain. So I experimented with the quail, and now I have hundreds of quail, but they pay for everybody else. So yeah, chicken math, right? quail meth. All right. Well, you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Thanks for listening to me talk about birds.